What is up, you guys? Today we are letting Discogs pick 5 random records from my collection. I can't wait. Let's get into the video. I'm always really interested to see the nooks and crannies of different people's record collections. I think that is like the really interesting part when they can't choose themselves and they are sort of forced to show you the, let's say, the guilty pleasures in their record collections. Maybe the stuff that you don't put up on the shelf and display, the stuff that you keep hidden in the stack, the stuff that you don't really want people to see. I want to say that I'm an open book as far as sharing my records go. To be honest, my entire hobby collecting vinyl is kind of like a guilty pleasure. I am 21, so most people just think I'm crazy when I say that I collect records as a college hobby. People young and old think that I'm crazy for doing that, so if you think I'm crazy, get in line. There is a line forming, so head to the back. Anyway, that tangent aside, so like I said in my last video, each of my videos is going to have a music trivia fun fact. Today's fun fact is, drum roll please, Johnny Cash's estate was approached by an advertising company asking to use the song Ring of Fire that we all know and love, yes, the song Ring of Fire, for hemorrhoid cream. Obviously, they refused the request because let's hope Johnny Cash isn't reduced to singing Ring of Fire for hemorrhoid cream. If I was Johnny Cash's estate, I would have done the same thing, so I think that was a good call. Anyway, on to the rest of the video. I guess I should explain it for people that maybe don't totally know yet. Discogs is a website and app that is meant for all things record collecting. There's a marketplace for selling and buying records that carries any music that you can think of. There's community forums where people who love record collecting can talk about anything and everything. There is a blog where avid record collectors tell all about their own collections and experiences in the vinyl community. And most importantly, I think to a lot of record collectors, is the collection feature. Basically, a place where you can log your entire record collection and keep track of it so that your itty bitty brain doesn't have to do it, which thank God, because I would play the same 2 records over and over again. It would be Patsy Cline and Dire Straits on repeat. The first album that the Discog gods have chosen from my collection to show to you all is the wonderful Nancy Wilson. This album is called Welcome to My Love. My particular version was released in 1967 on a Capitol label. I would say my 2 favorite songs from the album are In the Heat of the Night and It Never Entered My Mind. Those 2 songs are absolutely wonderful. I would definitely suggest that you check out Nancy Wilson as an artist. She is just an absolutely wonderful voice and does lots of Broadway, theater, music soundtrack type music. She just has a really full sound. I think that's a theme in the musicians that I tend to gravitate towards. I don't have a lot of Nancy Wilson in my collection, but this album is a good one. I think I got it for 50 cents at my local record store. I think my copy is a little more beat up than some people's, but it works for me. This album says that it was arranged and conducted by a gentleman named Oliver Nelson. So if you know anything about Oliver Nelson, please let everyone in the comments know. I don't know a lot about him, but you know, a lot of those studio musicians in Hollywood tend to play on different albums behind the scenes, and I always think it's interesting to learn who's involved in what music. Also, if anyone can teach me how to do eyeliner like Nancy Wilson's, that'd be superb because she looks awesome. So that one was fairly straightforward. Love Nancy Wilson. You should check her out. Discogs didn't unfurl my deepest, darkest secrets, so check on number 1. Let's see what Discogs can dig up in the second pick. Enter the 70s. The second pick by Discogs on that good old randomizer was John Denver's Spirit First of all, I would like to say John Denver's glasses on this album cover are glorious. 70s glam. This record was released in 1976 on RCA Victor. This is another banger of an album. I would say I have at least 5 or 6 of his albums. He's one of the artists that I actually want the complete collection of. If anyone has John Denver albums that they're looking to give away, hit your girl up. Most of my John Denver albums are pretty beat up, but you know what? I feel like that adds to the character of a John Denver album. That's not true for all artists, but a John Denver album is only quality when it is wrecked beyond recognition. Like, I feel like that adds to the folky country aesthetic that is John Denver. Maybe that's just in my head and I'm just crazy and I got a steal on a 50-cent record that probably sounds like poo compared to yours. Either way, I'm calling it a win. Anyway, John Denver, that's a winner. Check him out. If you haven't, Do You Live Under a Rock? Take Me Home, Country Roads. Best song. My favorite songs from this particular album, Come and Let Me Look in Your Eyes, and his version of San Antonio Rose is just breathtaking. Listen to it if you're in a real country mood. Maybe you're on the road somewhere or just looking out the window while it's raining. That is prime John Denver time, so hit this album up. The third album that Discogs has chosen for you all to see is a record that I know lots of you also own, Billy Joel's Stranger. This record was released in 1980 on Columbia's label and is a really famous album. First of all, Billy Joel is a star. I don't care what other people say, but he is still rock and roll to me. That is a music dad joke. For the person that gets that, thank you for being you. Anyway, I picked up Billy Joel the Stranger just because I thought I should try it. I had not listened to Billy Joel that much, but I've grown to love it. The Stranger is a really cool album and kind of has a unique sound for Joel. My 2 most favorite songs from this album are The Stranger and Vienna, but I do like Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. It is also a very good song. I would definitely check out this album if you haven't. Kind of one of those classic starred you must have albums. That is up to you. No shaming here. I also think the cover art of this album is really creative and cool. Kind of looks like it could have been taken in quarantine. I know a lot of artists are having to get creative with how they produce album art and such in this pandemic. Recently, I saw a music video by Troye Sivan that's filmed all in his bathtub. I would check it out. It's the newest song that he's just released. Joel is pulling off something similar here. But he probably had to pay thousands of dollars to take a studio shot, so joke's on him. We are getting there, folks. We are on number 4, so just stick with me a little bit longer. Number 4 is an excellent pick. We are talking my man, Harry Belafonte. This record was released in 1956 on RCA Victor and is on that original vinyl, that hard vinyl. Ain't no Dynaflex here. I am proud to have so much of Belafonte in my collection. I think that a lot of people associate Belafonte with his super famous pieces of music that are, I would say, classified as like a world music sound or maybe like a 1950s pop version of what world music sound would now be. There's a lot of other content in his career that is more focused on social justice, and that's really important work to have been done through music because music was reaching everyone's homes and people were buying music, and that was the way to communicate what was important. So maybe I'll do a future Behind the Band episode on Harry Belafonte. I think he and Miriam Makeba were really influential people that deserve to be talked about way more than they are when we talk about 1950s, 1960s music. Obviously I have a lot to say about this, but since we're only doing 5 random records, I'm gonna keep it short. Let's move on to that final 5th record. Alright, so wrapping this whole video up is our final 5th record picked randomly by Discogs, and it is none other than Tennessee Ernie Ford's Everything is Beautiful. This record was released in 1970 on Capitol Records, and it was released on a really funky green and purple label. I know Tennessee Ernie Ford is maybe not for everyone. I think he did mostly religious songs for a long time. I think there's a lot of Christmas records that Tennessee Ernie Ford is on, but I have taken it upon myself to find his non-religious and religious records, because I think they're both important parts of his career. I knew Tennessee Ernie Ford from his rendition of 16 Tons. I knew him from sort of his religious music that I'd heard played before, but I hadn't really known that he had done more in his career other than that religious and Christmassy music. So I picked it up. I was like, why not? I also think he just looks really distinguished in this outfit that he's got on. I mean, he's got like a little neckerchief going and this pipe. I mean, please. I think he's in a riding outfit, like a horseback riding, equestrian, sports. Yeah, he just looks classy and like someone that I would want to listen to while sipping tea. Rainy Night in Georgia is my favorite song on this album. I also really love his version of Bridge Over Troubled Water. Yeah, he even does a version of Let It Be on this album, so you Beatle fans, jump on this. It sounds nothing like the Beatles. Please do not expect it to sound like the Beatles. At all. If you know a lot of things about Tennessee Ernie Ford, please leave a comment in the description. He seems like a really interesting study. Again, who knows? I might do a behind the band episode on Tennessee Ernie Ford. All right, everyone, ta-da! That is it. 5 records picked by the almighty Discogs at random for you. For my collection, you can see a little bit of the spectrum of music that I listen to. Ironically, I think a lot of that music was, I'm not gonna say similar. It really focused on my vocal music, which I think is crazy. I have everything from AC/DC to The Little Engine That Could on tape. So it really didn't capture it all, but it captured some. I think maybe I'll make this a series so that you guys can see the depth and breadth of my collection. If you have a record collection and or a YouTube channel, I would love to see 5 random picks from Discogs on your channel. If any of these are records that you know or like or want to own someday, leave a comment in the description. I also want to thank you so much for watching till the end of my video. I really appreciate all of the views and shares and comments that you guys leave on my videos. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Like I said, I already really appreciate your support, and if you subscribe, you are joining the best music family on the internet, and that I can say with confidence. Thank you so much, and catch you next week.